And we keep continuing, Pauline, because this whole farce includes burning the Parliament door down. It includes Craig Kelly inviting Aborigine into the offices of Parliament. And we continue on the Criminal Code here, 119.5, allowing the use of buildings, vessels and aircraft to commit offences. See, Craig Kelly made the mistake that he thought that was his office. No, that was my office, Pauline. That was the people's office, and you were merely a servant in it. And you're obligated to all these laws while you were in it, Pauline. So Craig Kelly invited these people into the Parliament. Now, I just make a suspicious note here in the photograph. Now, you zoom real close into that photograph, Pauline, and there suspiciously looks like, and I'm alleging this is not an actual accusation, it suspiciously looks like a mirror on the table with lines of cocaine on that mirror in Craig Kelly's office. And that's just an allegation. I can't prove that. That's just what it looks like in a photo, Pauline. A photo released by them. Okay, so if they are using drugs in Parliament, maybe the AFP should also investigate the photos they release when they publish them. Okay, use of buildings. 1. Person commits an offence if the person is the owner, lessor, occupier, agent or superintendent of any building, room, premises or other land. The person permits a meeting or assembly of persons to be held in that place. Craig Kelly admitted a meeting to be held inside his office, going outside of all parliamentary procedure. We know this, Pauline, with Aboriginals, before they burnt the door down. This whole progression of events links Clive Palmer to this, doesn't it? Because we have a red ensign that Craig Kelly used in a political shitstorm that he did not have a lawful right to fly. I repeat that. He was under oath to the St Edward's Crown while in office, and he flew the flag of the Australian Imperial Forces and the Australian Imperial Crown, a crown that is in direct opposition, well, not direct opposition, is administered by his crown. This is reality, Pauline. This is what Craig Kelly did. This is what Clive Palmer urged Craig Kelly to do. Fly a flag foreign to the actual Parliament and then take it into your actual Parliament with Aboriginals. Try and undermine the Constitution, no doubt. Right, because that's not an Australian flag and he's under oath to the Parliament, Pauline. So that's an act of treason right there. Or treachery, because you're dealing with two different Crown's flags, Pauline. This is the reality of it, because Justice of the Supreme Court already defined a curial right on the court record and the consecration of that flag before the world. So, Craig Kelly's committed an act of treason, treachery, something of the like, for flying a foreign flag and representing it in your Parliament, and then providing a place, a building, a Commonwealth building at that, that's owned by the people, to sit down and have a meeting with Aboriginals to try and undermine the Constitution, Pauline. Because no one sits down with Aboriginals to, deal with the Constitution. It's not their Constitution, Pauline. They want to be sovereign, Pauline. They want to go back to pre-1967, Pauline. So technically it can't ever be their constitution. They would be leaving it, wouldn't they? So they'd use the building to do what, Pauline? Allowing the use of buildings, vessels and aircraft to commit offences, imprisonment for life, Pauline. When a person permits the meeting to be held, a person is an Australian citizen, is a resident of Australia, is a holder under the Migration Act 1958 of a visa, or has voluntarily put himself or herself under the protection of Australia, is a body corporate incorporated by or under the law of a Commonwealth of Australia or a state or territory. Imprisonment for life. So when we deal with these things, Pauline, because these are the reality of the situation. Craig Kelly allowed those Aboriginal into the Parliament to do something. What'd they do in there? What's all this secret hoo-ha going on behind closed doors before they burnt the Parliament door down? Did Craig Kelly have something to do with burning the Parliament door down, Pauline? I mean, these are very real questions that we need to ask, considering that post-fact, the Parliament door was burnt down. These are real things, Pauline. A person commits an offence if the owner, character, lessor, operator, agent, master of a vessel, or the owner, character, lessor, operator, or pilot in charge of an aircraft, the person permits the vessel or aircraft to be used. So we're talking about land and sea, Pauline. When a person permits the use, the person is an Australian citizen, a resident of Australia, is a holder of a Migration Act, etc. Absolute liability applies to paragraphs 1D and 2D. Okay, absolute liability. This means that if you are one of those things, there's no excuses here. So you go and ask Craig Kelly, what'd you do there? You're undermining our Constitution. We've been watching you. We've been documenting it. And it's now crunch time, Pauline. You know we've been stepping through the courts for the last 15 years. You know you've ignored us. You know that the people are rising. You know that people are listening. You know this is gaining traction. The reason that it's gaining traction is because you're an occupying military force on this land, occupying white Australia and Aboriginal Australia. That's what you are. Okay, this is a reality check now, Pauline. What are you going to do with these criminals? What are you going to do with these traitors, these people that have committed treason, these people that have committed now? And I'll remind you of this, Pauline. If you want to say, oh, I'm not an Australian citizen, none of that stuff applies to me, well done. You've just now opened the door to international criminal law, and I'll be looking at you from that side of the fence. Why'd you commit a war crime on my soil? It's the reality of the check that you're about to face, Pauline. You all thought this was politics, while you danced around and fucked over the law. You all thought this was politics, while you could ignore the law and continue processing along. Okay? The law's now going to catch up with all of you. You lied in the High Court over Section 44 several years ago because Steve did something with the Solicitor General, the Attorney General and the Prime Minister's office, and it scared them so much that they thought they needed to go into the High Court and lie about your very own allegiance. Lie, Pauline, to the High Court. Lie to the High Court, Pauline. Now being caught out by Justice Lonergan on the Supreme Court of New South Wales. So when Section 44 is concerned, Pauline, and the other section relative to the House of Representatives, you got the Senate and the House of Representatives, both obligated to similar causes, Pauline. When this comes to a reality check, what do you think's going to happen, Pauline? When people realise that you're just a con job, you're liars, right? You're criminals. You're war criminals. What do you think's going to happen, Pauline? This is my stark warning to you, because we ain't going to stop. You are criminals. You have broken laws, and they are being brought up before you, Pauline, and we're expecting you to go and tell the rest of Australia, and in your failure to tell the rest of Australia and bring these things up succinctly in the Senate, then I'm sorry, but then you're guilty party too, because you're liable. You're in cahoots with them. Our criminal power on our land, committing war crimes on us. And we're at the point where, why should we let a war crime occur on our soil anymore, Pauline? We won't. All right? Take that into consideration. We won't.